Hello, it's Jane from JD Papercrafts here. Happy New Year. This is my first video after the Christmas break. I saw a card the other day, which I think the demonstrator's name was Angie Oldenburg, and she's done a video on how to do this card, or approximately this card, with the ombre papers, and I thought it was really nice. If you haven't seen them yet, these are the ombre papers. They are absolutely lovely. And the other side you have, so you have 4 colours and 2 different patterns. The paper that I've used for that one and Angie had used is this type, plain one. She cut hers into strips and then cut them diagonally to make the sunray. But with her method, you can't do the same thing with the pattern paper because the ombre goes down towards one corner. So I've devised a way of doing it. The ombre papers are actually free. You can see how much I've used. That's a full pack, and that's how much I've got left in the first pack. They're free at the moment in Saleabration, which if you spend £45 you can get a pack of that for nothing. We always like a bargain, don't we? And it really is worth getting. So to start with, what you need to do is to cut your paper, instead of cutting it into strips, cut it diagonally. So I'm cutting it with the dark side there and the light side there. I'm lining the points up on my cutting strip and then cut straight up there. Now what you want to do with each piece is line it up with the right angle towards the bottom, line that up on your strip, your cutting strip, and line one of the points up at 1 inch, and then cut that. Now as you do these, it's worth trying to keep them in order. You can get them into order afterwards if you get confused. It's easy enough to get them into order, but it just saves a little bit work. Then with this bottom point still on that cutting strip, move this edge out to 1 inch. And again. Do it a third time. Now I'm going to do 4 this way and then swap. It doesn't matter whether you swap after 3 or 4. We're going to get 8 pieces eventually out of it, but the last piece will be a bit smaller. So now, keeping that corner still on my cutting strip, I'm going to move it so that the other corner, so if you think of it as that one, I had that corner on the cutting strip and that corner on 1 inch and kept moving it round. I'm now going to shift to that corner. So it's on the other side of my trimmer. And again, cut at 1 inch. Now remember that these will go, that will go a big gap in between there for these pieces. So keep going like that until you've got all 8 pieces. And remembering that that piece, as you can see, is a bit smaller. So do the same with the other piece. So you can start whichever way you like, and you can do either 3 or 4 before you swap. So I'll do 4 from here. Well, I've started the opposite way from the previous one. Just remember to check each time that your bottom corner is lined up on the cutting strip, and that one at an inch. So that's 4 done. So I now need to swap to the other side. And lined up on 1. If you get any resistance when you try to slide your blade, then just move it to somewhere in the middle of the piece you're trying to cut. Sometimes you can catch on the corner down there. This is the last one to cut. So the last one is the most tricky because you can't keep hold of it when you put the cover down. Okay. So I now have those in order. So just put them back together so that you can see how they go. Right. Now you also need a piece of paper or card, Whisper White card or basic white or very vanilla, or some scrap card. And you want it for an A6 card. You'll need about 5.5 inches by 3 3/4. I've actually gone slightly bigger than that. I've gone to 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, just so that I can trim it down when I've finished. Okay, and what I've done with that is I've marked the centre of the long side and drawn a faint line up the middle, just to give me a guide as to where to start. Now, you need to identify which is your small piece. So that's my small one. So, these 3 pieces to the side, you'll have 4 pieces to one side of that and 3 to the other. What you can do is move them across to there. That's now the order I want to use them in. Alright, so just move those across to one side. Hopefully you can more or less see them. On this one, identify again which is your small piece. I think it's that piece. So these are the 3. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, as you can see, whether this 4th one is there or there. It could work out either way depending on how you cut it. But that needs to be the last piece you use. So keep them in order. It's not just the pattern that you're trying to keep in order, it's the actual size of the pieces. So now I find the easiest thing to do is to put glue, wet glue, so Tombow, on 1/2 and work on 1/2. So I will start with the first piece from this section, this darker piece. For no particular reason, just that's what came to hand first. All right. So remember, you've got those 3 pieces, those 5 are in order, and these 3 have been moved to the beginning. So now you don't want the third one of those, the first one of those will go there when you're done. So take the second one. All right. And then the third one of these. So you're taking alternate ones. So you're lining it up at the bottom and just positioning it there. So we've done the third. So I now want the fourth one from the lights. And then the fifth one from the darks, which was, yes, it's that one. Sixth one from the lights. Seventh from the darks. And the eighth, which is the little one, from the lights. This method also has the advantage with that card, because you needed quite a lot of full-length strips to get the whole ombre effect. It actually uses nearly 2 whole sheets of ombre paper. This method only uses 1 piece, as you can see. So that one was the end piece from the dark, so I now want a light one, and that goes in there. Then the dark one. So that will have been a number 2, if you want to think of it that way. And you just keep alternating and working your way across. Didn't cut that one quite so well, but it doesn't matter because we'll cover that up soon. And light, and then last but not least, we want this one, this narrower piece. Now, see, just depend on just how straight you get them at the beginning as to whether you will cover up the whole of this. I've got a little bit there, so I'm going to trim that in a few minutes. Okay, so now you can trim all of those ends off. I'm going to use this to cut it down a little. So if you remember, I said I'd got about 3 7/8, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off the bottom, just to neaten it up. This works better if the glue has dried before you do that. wanted 3 3/4, so trim it to there. No, can't quite trim it on that one. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, let's get the stamping done. So I'm going to use this oval punch, double oval punch from the new catalogue, and punch a piece of Bermuda Bay card to match. And I forgot to get my stamp set out. Yes, it's the bottom of the pile, of course. Last one you look at. So I thought this is the stamp set that goes with the oval punch, called Oval Occasions. It's from the new catalogue. So I'm just looking for the Happy Birthday. And get a block for it. That's larger than I need. You can use your grid paper just to line up the stamp. Pick it up nice and straight. Hair on there. So I've got a hair in the way. So put the ink away before I put my fingers in it. And then stamp that and cut that out. Okay. A little bit of glue on the back. And put that together there. Now I'll trim that down to, should be dried by now, so I'll trim it to the right size. So yes, mine's just a little bit, I think I've got 5 7/8 or thereabouts. Just trim a little bit off each side. Trim it down, and then that one to 5 1/2. It was a tiny bit of that side. Okay, so now we're ready to just attach that to your card base. Line it up. And then a couple of dimensionals. Pop that up on a couple of dimensionals. And put that over the centre, just to hide where the join is, just in case they're joined up neatly. And that's my card done. Hope you like it. Thanks for popping by. Speak to you soon.